When you're playing, it almost feels like the crowd's on top of you.
Alex Eala walked onto Roland Garros and lost in straight sets, and thousands of Filipinos who had crossed continents to be there didn't leave. They didn't go quiet. They didn't scatter. They stayed. That is not a sports story. That is something else entirely.
Everything feels very small and very... When you're playing, it almost feels like the crowd's on top of you. But I feel it. I feel their energy.
On Tuesday, May 26th, 2026, Alex Eala stepped onto the clay at the French Open and faced the 17th seed Iva Jovic, an 18-year-old American who, by a detail almost nobody is talking about, had previously partnered with Eala in doubles. The match ended 4-6, 2-6 in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Eala won only 45% of her first serve points. Jovic won 70%. Those numbers aren't small. That's a technical collapse on a surface Eala herself has called unfamiliar, a player who just months earlier stood at a career-high world ranking of number 37 and had earned over $1.6 million in total career prize money, suddenly unable to find her serve on the red clay of Roland Garros. But here's what the match statistics don't tell you. Days before that match, before a single ball was struck in competition, Filipino expats had already traveled from Germany, from Switzerland, from Washington, D.C., and they weren't standing at the main stadium. They were packed into the stands of Court 4 and Court 5 in 28-degree heat, watching Alex Eala practice. Fan Lyman Rodriguez, who made the journey from Washington, D.C., told reporters, "As a Filipino, she provides inspiration and a role model for our compatriots. The way she handles losses, she was able to recover, and she has this intention to improve her game." Rodriguez said that at a practice session, before the match, before the result. And that's when things start to shift. Because what arrived in Paris wasn't a reaction to a victory. It was something that had been building long before anyone set foot on clay.
Last year in Miami, and I'm from there, and whole crowd was against me, and I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, where did these people come from?
Before Roland Garros 2026, the internet had already written a completely different version of this story. Viral YouTube channels, some of them powered by AI-generated narration, published content claiming that ticket resale prices for Eala's early round matches had exploded to $2,000. Those same channels claimed tournament organizers were under mounting pressure to schedule Alex Eala on Court Philippe Chatrier, Roland Garros' most prestigious venue. None of that was confirmed. What was confirmed? Court 4, Court 5, practice stands. But the most extreme fabrication on record goes even further. An AI-generated video published a fully fictional match transcript, a scenario where Alex Eala wins the French Open singles title, embraces Coco Gauff at the net, and then deliberately snubs French President Emmanuel Macron in his presidential box. That match never happened. That handshake never happened. That snub never happened. And yet that video generated real engagement, real shares, and real emotional investment from real people who genuinely believe in Alex Eala's career. So the question is, what happens when a fandom grows faster than the facts can contain it?
You can hear it from the hotel. You can hear the crowd roaring, especially at night.
To understand why fabrications about Alex Eala find such fertile ground, you have to go back further. Back to a controversy that exposed exactly how unstable the institutional support around her has always been. In 2020, after Eala's semi-final run at the French Open Juniors, the run that pushed her to a career-high junior ranking of world number 2, the Philippine Sports Commission published a congratulatory post on social media. The PSC claimed it had financially backed Eala with 3 million Philippine pesos, roughly $53,000 for travel expenses, plus an additional 1.5 million for international tournaments. Eala's mother, Riza Maniego Eala, and her uncle, former PBA Commissioner Noli Eala, publicly refuted the claim immediately. The family said they had received no government funding. They revealed they had been self-financing Alex Eala's career through private sponsors and had actually run into administrative delays when trying to secure reimbursements from the PSC for the 2020 Australian Open, the same tournament where Eala won her first junior Grand Slam doubles title alongside Indonesian partner Priska Nugroho. The PSC deleted the post. They issued a public apology citing, and this is their exact language, unintended misinformation. But here's what no apology restores: the record of a teenage athlete whose family was funding a global tennis career out of their own pocket, while a government agency was publicly claiming credit for it. And once you understand that, the fabricated Sheikh Mansour story lands in a completely different way. In February 2026, digital platforms began circulating a report claiming that Abu Dhabi billionaire Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan had offered Alex Eala a 10-year contract worth $1.6 billion, including a $1 billion down payment and $600 million annually, to become the centerpiece of a brand new Abu Dhabi tournament. Fact-checkers looked into it. The viral graphic was an edited composite photo. There was no documented business meeting. Sheikh Mansour's official schedule during the relevant period was limited to equestrian events, not tennis, not contracts, not Alex Eala. The story was completely false, but it spread. Because when a fandom has watched real institutions fail to support a player, watched a family self-fund a global career while a government agency deleted its own congratulatory post, those same fans become emotionally ready for the version of the story where the world finally recognizes what they already knew. The fabricated billion-dollar contract wasn't random. It was the fandom filling a gap that real institutions had left wide open. Eala herself has addressed the weight of that expectation directly. She said, "I want to give back all the support they give me, but my first obligation is to myself. It's all about balance." That's not a dismissal of the fan army. That's a world number 37 trying to stay grounded while an entire nation projects its hopes onto her clay court serve percentage.
The way that she's been able to pack stadiums and the way that her country supports her is something special.
The documented reality of Eala's 2026 French Open campaign tells the story of a player in genuine transition, not the cinematic arc the internet demands. The grinding technical work of a 21-year-old competing at the sport's highest level on her least familiar surface. Heading into Roland Garros, Eala's clay court singles record for the 2026 swing stood at 4 wins and 6 losses. She'd reached the quarterfinals at the Abu Dhabi Open and the Dubai Tennis Championships. At Indian Wells in March, she defeated world number 4 Coco Gauff, though Gauff retired due to an arm injury while trailing 2-6, 0-2. That win earned Eala $105,720 and 120 ranking points. But clay is a different conversation altogether. At the Italian Open in May 2026, after grinding through a 3-set win over Magdalena Frech, Eala said something to reporters that tells you more about her mentality than any viral video ever could. She said, "I told myself that I wasn't tired enough." That's not a performer speaking for the camera. That's a competitor whose internal standard for effort is calibrated against Rafael Nadal, the man who gave Eala specific technical modifications to her forehand during private, high-intensity training sessions at his Mallorca Academy in November 2025. The first time Eala had ever shared a court with the 22-time Grand Slam champion. NADAL responded publicly after Eala's WTA 125 title in Guadalajara, stating, "I am happy and proud of what you are achieving for yourself and for the Philippines." That Guadalajara title, by the way, came over Hungary's Pana Udvardy in 2 hours and 30 minutes. A 1-6, 7-5, 6-3 comeback after losing the first set convincingly. That match is a far more accurate portrait of Alex Eala than any fabricated Grand Slam trophy. Here's the fact that reframes everything. The Filipino fans who packed Court 4 and Court 5 in 28-degree Paris heat, the ones who flew in from Germany, Switzerland, and Washington, D.C., they didn't come to Roland Garros because Alex Eala was winning. They came before she played a single competitive point. They came to watch practice. They came to exist in the same physical space as someone they had already decided, independent of results, represented something far larger than tennis. And when Eala lost to Iva Jovic in 1 hour and 40 minutes, winning only 45% of her first serve points, those same fans didn't manufacture an alternative result online. The fabrications came from somewhere else. The people who actually made the journey accepted the loss, watched Eala shift focus to the grass court season, and moved forward with her. That contrast matters because the real story isn't the viral clips or the fake contracts, it's the Seasters. Eala's documented partnership with Indonesia's Janice Chien, who climbed from world number 372 to a career-high world number 36, becoming the highest-ranked Indonesian woman since Yayuk Basuki in 1998. Two Southeast Asian women representing a region of over 600 million people, climbing a sport that historically had no room for them. That movement doesn't need a fabricated narrative. It's already extraordinary on its own terms. The internet will keep writing the version of Alex Eala's story it wants to believe. The billion-dollar contracts, the presidential snubs, the championships that haven't happened yet. But the fans who booked flights to Paris and sat in 28-degree heat on court 4 just to watch her serve into a practice net, they already understand something the algorithm doesn't. They weren't there for the result. So here's the only question that matters now. When Alex Eala finally wins the match the internet already fabricated, what will the people who were actually there feel, having waited this long for a moment they already lived in their minds?